everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to go through 5 top tips that I think all new Open University students should know. I am a second year Open University student. I have just started studying the module W111, which is a law module. Last year I studied B100, which is a business module, as I'm doing an open degree, and I got a distinction last year. So I thought I'd share with you my top tips for how to get the best grades and really, just kickstart your Open University journey in the best way possible, because this is kind of something that is very different to A-levels and GCSEs and things you may have done before. So yeah, I just thought I'd give you my top tips. I also have a study company called Stylish Study where I help people to revise in the best way possible, to be the most efficient and to get their dream grades. So if you want to check out Stylish Study because you are a student yourself and you're also looking to get the best grades, I will leave all the details for Stylish Study down below so you can go and check it out. Tip number 1 is a do not panic tip. For me, I did panic about this because I saw this come up on my phone and I was like, oh my god. So your first assessment that you do, I'm pretty sure for every single course, I know definitely for my course this applied, but just double check for yours, you will get a U, but don't worry because that U doesn't actually mean anything. So for me, when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, like I can't do this. I tried really hard and I got a U and I don't really know where to go from here. But it turns out that it's because it doesn't actually go towards your final assessment grade. They just give you tips on how to improve for next time. It's kind of just a practice really to ease you into it. But if you see that U, please do not worry because everyone gets that. It's just because it's ungraded, because it's not going towards your final assessment grade. Second thing is when you are doing these assessments, which are called TMAs by the way, if you haven't heard this jargon before, a TMA is a tutor marked assessment, and essentially you have them roughly once a month depending on your course. You can also have exams thrown in there as well, so yeah, it's really course specific. For me, I just had basically a TMA every month, which has different weightings for each TMA and it goes towards your final grade. You do these quite regularly and your tutor marks them. It's kind of like coursework really, but with these you get given a template. Now I'm not sure whether this is for every single year and I'm not sure whether this is for every single course, but I'm pretty sure it's probably for your first module that you do, to ease you into things and to help you guide you along the way of kind of what they're really looking for in an assessment. So if you get these, please use them, and if you're not sure whether you get them or not, please ask your tutor. But these are essentially a template for how to write your assessments. They give you so much more extra information. They really home in on what chapters you should be looking at, which helps for creating that really concise answer, which is then going to get you better marks and the top grades, because ultimately your word count for these is pretty low. Mine was 500 for the first couple and then 1,000, which sounds great because it sounds like, oh, I don't have to do that much work, but actually it's really hard to condense it and to get the marks out of that, like, such small amount of information. When you get these templates, I would really recommend printing them out. I did this for every single assessment. So I printed out the template so I could bullet point things, I could annotate the keywords, I could circle the word count and just really familiarize myself with the question. And then also I printed out the case studies, because a lot of the time you're actually using a case study example and trying to weave your answer into the case study. I always printed that out and then highlighted it physically, because for me that is the easiest way possible. I know now obviously you can use iPads and stuff, but for me, like, I'm a pretty old school kind of gal. I like to actually print it and write on it in person. I feel like that gets it into my brain better and I feel like I can see it easier, which sounds crazy, but it does feel that way. Another thing that I always make sure to do, because I did it last year and I'm definitely doing it again this year, make sure you go onto the student homepage and find your deadlines for exams. and TMAs, and they are pretty much good to go as soon as you are accepted into the course. So you can go onto the assessment button and it will give you the deadlines all on there, and I always make sure that these are in my calendar roughly about a week before it's actually due, so that I know that I have that kind of a little bit of wiggle room just in case. The tutors are, from what I've heard and from what I've experienced, pretty lenient with the deadlines. I have had a couple of extensions before and my tutor was really lovely about it, but I guess it depends what tutor you get. But also another little tip with that is that your EMA, so your end of module assessment, cannot be moved. You either hand that in or you don't. And I'm also not sure whether you can change the date of exams. That's something that's worth checking out, but just making sure that you know that deadline, because no one's going to check up on you for it. They don't care really whether you've handed it in or not. You're not going to get sort of emails sort of pestering you of like, oh, you only have 3 days left. You need to be on top of that. It will show up in your student calendar that you have the assessment due, which is really handy. But apart from that, that's all you're going to get. So I really would put that in the calendar that you use on a day-to-day basis so that you are aware. Find how you like to study and your study rhythm. For me, this was like a bit of a difficult one during my first year because I didn't really know what I was doing and kind of what to expect. So I was kind of a bit all over the place. When I first started out, I was doing the most. Literally, I was writing notes, I was doing every single question, I was doing quizzes, I was looking at the further reading, I was really doing everything. I was writing flashcards, all that good stuff, which is fabulous. But when you're working smart and not hard, you're kind of needing to judge, actually, what do I need to know? What is this assessment for? Which is something that I'm always stressing over on Stylish Study. So I would not be taking my own advice if I didn't do this. So at the start I was doing the most, and then I was kind of finding my rhythm, finding what I actually needed to do. And because I wasn't doing all of the activities and because I wasn't actually doing every single question towards the end, I pretty much skipped the questions, did the readings, made Cornell notes, which for me is just the best way to get the top grades. And I was making a few flashcards as well on key terms that I knew I actually needed to really know. And those were kind of the main things that I was doing and not the rest. And I was really worried that I wasn't actually kind of keeping up. I was making sure that I pretty much just had my key focus on the assessment chapters when time was really tight, and not worrying too much about the others and kind of just reading through them instead of making notes, which obviously takes longer. So I was really trying to find my rhythm, and I felt bad for doing it because I wasn't doing sort of the structure that they provide you with in the weekly blocks. But actually I came out with a distinction, and I would say that that's pretty alright. Yeah, it's just about finding your rhythm, and I think that they give you like the most to do, and they give it to you in so many different formats. Like you have videos, you have audio, you have the books obviously, you have activities, and it really kind of depends on what for you goes in your brain and how you learn, rather than having to do everything, because from what I've learned, that doesn't necessarily give you the best grades. Yeah, so just kind of like find your rhythm and don't worry too much about what is set. It's just really trying to like fall into that rhythm. Like now, going into next year, I know exactly how I'm going to tackle it, pretty much. My fourth tip is that I would not follow the weekly blocks to a T, because for me, I just didn't, and I don't think that it's super realistic. Obviously, the way that it can kind of fit around your work and other commitments that you have in your life, maybe that is what works best for you, and maybe you just like doing a little bit every week. But for me, I was more of a person to kind of save a couple of blocks and do a couple of blocks in one day. So I was doing sort of like a full study day and getting pretty much 2 weeks worth of work done in that one day, and I just found it worked so much better. I'm one of those people that when I'm motivated and when I'm doing something, I want to like just carry on doing it. and like I'm obsessed with it, and then I don't want to touch it for like a week or two. I'm not a bitty person. I'm pretty much an all or nothing. Like I will either be so focused and do it for hours, or I just don't want to touch it. So for me, it was finding my natural flow of sort of motivation, not really worrying too much about what that calendar said, but obviously keeping up with my deadlines. There are no deadlines with sort of like the block weekly work. That is literally just your studying and your preparation essentially for the assessment. So yeah, I really wouldn't worry about doing it weekly as they say. My last tip is to go to all of your lectures and just check in with the tutor that's on there. For me, I didn't find the lectures very helpful, if I'm completely honest, because they're just going over the things that you've learnt or you're about to learn. So for me, being someone that really likes reading from a book, highlighting, creating my own notes, creating my own flashcards, etc, etc, I found this a little bit tedious because I didn't really need someone to explain it to me. But going to the lectures and making sure you ask questions is so invaluable. So they're literally there live on Adobe Connect, and you can book them. There's like 10 different opportunities for each lecture pretty much, I think. There's quite a lot of times and dates that you can do. But I was asking questions and for things I didn't understand, and getting extra sort of, should I answer the question this way or this way, especially for assessments. That was really helpful. Utilize what you're given, what you're paying for at the end of the day. Like, you're paying money for this, use their services. So I was just, yeah, in the end kind of having the lectures on in the background. So overall, I really hope that you enjoy your first year at the Open University. If you have any more questions, please leave them down below and I will try my best to answer them. I really hope this was helpful, and I'd love to know what you guys are going on to study. For me, I am doing, like I said, I'm doing my second year, a law module. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. But yeah, good luck. I'm sure you'll smash it. It's really about just finding your own rhythm, and I have plenty of Open Uni videos posted and so many more coming your way. So please subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you guys very soon. Goodbye.